And so let me just, I don't know how many people know what the Anti-Defamation League does, but it's a Jewish civil rights agency. And it has a dual mission. Its mission statement, it was started in 1913, almost 100 years ago. It was started in response to the Leo Frank lynching. I guess having mentioned that, Leo Frank was it was in Atlanta, Georgia. There was a rape of a young girl. Leo Frank was accused of the rape. He was found innocent of the rape, and he was accused because he was the only Jew in the area. He was found innocent, and the local populace raided the courthouse, kidnapped Leo Frank out of the courthouse, and lynched him. And it was in response to that that the ADL was founded in 1913 with a dual mission, to fight the defamation of the Jewish people and to secure equal justice for all citizens alike. And there was a recognition very early on that if you're going to fight anti-Semitism, you can't just fight it by saying the only thing we care about are the rights of Jews. You better fight it by caring about the rights of everybody. The ADL has 28 regional offices around the country. We have 300 or so, a little bit more than 300 employees. We had more than that before the financial crisis. Our budget's about $60 million a year, all of which is raised. None of it comes from the government, all of which is raised from the community. And I should say by the community, I should say Jewish and non-Jewish. We have a fair number of non-Jewish supporters. And there are about 100,000 people, a little more than that every year, that are financial supporters of the ADL. ADL has three major divisions: education, civil rights, and international affairs. Education, we basically focus on two areas: Holocaust studies, and we're the largest provider of curricula for schools to teach Holocaust, about the Holocaust. And then multiculturalism, and that may be not working in Germany, according to Angela Merkel, but I think it, by and large, is working in the U.S., and we are heavily involved in schools. We've got programs that begin from preschool and kindergarten, or below kindergarten, to the high schools. And then actually we teach it in the corporations as well, how diversity works. What does respect mean? What does tolerance mean? We're actually the largest non-governmental trainer of FBI agents, training them in issues involving diversity, issues involving cultural respect. And again, as you see, a lot of that is not, it is, I like to say what we do comes from a Jewish perspective. We understand the importance of tolerance. We understand the importance of being a minority, of being strangers in a foreign land. But it's not about, Jews is not about anti-Semitism, or not, certainly not exclusively, or even principally. We're heavily involved in civil rights. We litigate, we interfaith outreach, we produce reports, we lobby legislators, and we do that over issues like anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim bigotry, anti-black bigotry, anti-gay, and we've been involved in all of those areas and continue to be involved in all of those areas, and we again believe that you can't fight one form of bigotry without fighting all forms of bigotry. We're also involved in church-state separation. We are very, I would say, extreme on the issue of church-state separation. It may be the only issue about which we're extreme. In a country, the U.S. tends to be a religious country. There tends to be continuous erosion of the boundaries between church-state, public aid to parochial schools, and that kind of thing. And we're very aggressive about fighting it. We just believe that that it's just both better for, it's not only good for Jews, but it's better for both religion and state to be separate. We're heavily involved in the immigration debate in the United States, not so much as to exactly what the right policy should be, but very much in the issue of demonization, of fighting against the demonization of immigrants. And this is, again, an area in which, at the moment anyway, it's not so much about Jews. Nobody's demonizing Jews at the moment as part of the immigration debate. It's mostly aimed at Hispanics, little bit at the Muslim world, but the Muslim immigration in the U.S. is nothing like Muslim immigration in Europe. It's a very small sliver, but it's the Hispanic community, and one of my proudest moments, actually, as ADL National Chair was I went and received a award that I accepted on behalf of the ADL from MALDEF, the Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, for the work that we had done assisting Latin American immigrants on dealing with their rights and speaking out against the demonization that is occurring. We monitor extremist groups, and we're heavily involved in what's a kind of new area involving what we call cyberbullying. I don't know if that's a word that's used here. It's essentially using the internet to abuse people's rights. It's unfortunately, it's much easier to threaten people when you can do it behind the anonymity of the internet. And it's become a real problem in our schools where kids are ostracized online, and the world for them has changed, because it used to be that if you were a 13-year-old girl and all your classmates started to pick on you, you could always go home and at least you had a place of refuge. You don't anymore. You don't anymore, because it's still, I mean, your computer follows you, and you can't choose to join a USY group and escape it, and you can't, and so that's been an area in which the whole question of how you deal with the rights of people who are being abused, and particularly young people are being abused on the internet. And then in the international area, our work there is principally to defend Israel and to fight the delegitimization of Israel, as basically the newest, a new form of anti-Semitism. It doesn't mean we're spokesmen for the state of Israel. It doesn't mean we agree with everything that occurs there, but we're very vigilant about the differences between disagreeing with the policy of the state of Israel and delegitimizing the state of Israel, and we can talk later about some of those differences if we want to. So that's kind of what the ADL does, and that's its agenda. And one of the things that has always interested us is why we have had such a hard time getting Europeans in particular to embrace the concepts locally. That is, to create similar organizations. We've offered help to create similar organizations here and in France and other places where there are large Jewish populations, and we really haven't been successful. So, as I said, the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll kind of try to do this relatively quickly. I just came back, as I said, I'm on the board of the Jewish People Policy Institute, whose mandate is to focus on the relationship between diaspora Jewry and the state of Israel. And a number of representatives from the UK, and I should try to remember all of them. I don't. I do remember that Ronald Cohn was there, because Sir Ronald Cohn, sorry, because he was in the section that I got to chair.